Hey, what's going on everybody? Protein bar review guy here. It's been a while coming back at you. Life's been a little bit crazy, but I haven't forgotten about you all. And today up here we have the big 100 MetRX Super Cookie Crunch. All right, remember to hit like, subscribe, share this with any of your friends who want to learn more about what's in their bars, or in general, just more of what those ingredients are that you can't pronounce on the food labels and what they do to your body. All right, before we get started, we're gonna change things up here at the end of the video. Over the summer, we were doing the tighten up, tone up tip of the day, right? Because it was summer and a lot of people were trying to lean out. We're coming into the fall here, and I know I'm shifting over into bulking season and I'm starting. So what better way to start the bulking season than with this monster of a bar right here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is at the end of the videos, I'm going to give you tips on how to bulk up over the winter. And not just bulk up, we're not doing a dirty bulk. I'm gonna teach you how to focus on a clean bulk, how to maximize muscle growth as much as possible over the winter so you can get the most out of your bulk, and how to minimize the amount of fat that you put on your body over that bulking period, right? So we're gonna gain muscle and try to minimize the amount of fat that we put on, because it is only natural that with a surplus of calories to build the muscle that we are going to hold on to a little extra calories and store them as fat. But we're gonna try to minimize that. All right, so at the end of every video, I'm gonna give you a tip. All right, so we're gonna get into this bar here first. The ingredients, we break down these bars based on ingredients, calorie count, protein content, the macros, and then we go through the taste and texture, give it an overall score of 1 through 10. All right, so let's dive into this bad boy here. This thing's pretty big. All right, they're boasting right on the front 32 grams of protein, 18 vitamins and minerals, and they're calling this a meal replacement bar. All right, that's good. All right, so they're not trying to be anything they're not here. Okay, you know they're laying it out there. This is a high calorie bar. Okay, this is not a bar you're gonna sit on the couch and have a snack. All right, this is a bar you're on the go. You need calories. You know, you're leaving the gym after just a hard ass workout, and you need calories to start the rebuilding process. All right, so let's look at the ingredients in this bar here. Okay, they have a proprietary blend that I guess they've trademarked called metamyocin, which is a blend of cocoa soy crisps, soy protein isolate, cocoa, milk protein isolate, whey protein concentrate, egg white, L-glutamine, corn syrup, sugar, canola oil, more cocoa, fractionated palm kernel and palm oil, fructose, glycerin, water, more cocoa, natural flavor, milk, unsweetened chocolate, cocoa butter, whey, non-fat milk, oligofructose, soy lecithin, partially defatted peanut flour, butterfat, salt, xanthan gum, almond butter, tocopherols. All right. This is not a bar for someone who's watching their ingredients carefully and is trying to have something with a short and simple ingredient list, like maybe an RX bar or something that has 5 ingredients. All right, this is I'm not gonna lie, this is on the junky side. Okay, this is junk food pretty much. You know, I mean, even the protein blend, I don't like that the #1 protein in there is soy, but I mean, at least they have all the other ones in there. They've got the milk protein, the whey isolate, the whey protein concentrate, and then egg white too, which we've talked about in the past as being the most highly bioavailable form of protein. And then they also have L-glutamine in there too, which is not only great for your immune system, but it's also great for stimulating muscle growth. I personally like to do 5 grams of glutamine pre and post workout. That's a great way to get your glutamine in there. I mean, and some athletes even do higher than that. They do 4 servings of 5 grams a day for 20 grams of glutamine per day. I'm just doing 10, but that's just me. All right, so ingredients on this, lots and lots of junky stuff. You know, you've got all kinds of fractionated palm kernel oil, palm oil, fructose, corn syrup, canola oil. All this stuff jumps out to me as red flags here. The one thing I can say is there is no aspartame. There is no acesulfame potassium. Did we say sucralose? No, there's no sucralose in this either. Not a ton of sugar. Oh, geez, 24 grams of added sugar. Where are they getting this from? This must be from the fructose, and I guess all of the cocoa in there. Yeah, so ingredients on this, I'm gonna give it a 4. All right. Calorie count, 410 calories. They weren't lying when they said this is a meal replacement bar. All right, 410 calories. We talked in the past about we like to see the bars in a 180 to 220 calorie window. That's more for the snack size bar. This is a meal replacement bar. They're not lying. 410 calories. I'm gonna give that a 10 for a meal replacement bar, because I think, you know, if you're gonna be honest and say this is a meal replacement bar, you better deliver on the calorie count, okay? Because I'm not replacing a meal with 180 calories. That's not a meal for me, and I don't know who that's a meal for, anyways. All right. So we're giving it a 10 on calorie count there, and the protein content. We talked about the various kinds of protein that are in here, some good, some not so good. But the protein content, 32 grams out of 410 calories. That's 32 times 4 is 128 calories. So you're a little over, you're like 27, 28% of this bar is from protein. So that's kind of weak for me. I'm gonna give that a 4 on protein content as well. I mean, it looks good on the label. You're like, oh my God, 32 grams of protein, yeah, this is awesome. And then you're like 410 calories, it's a little over a quarter of the bar. So yeah, you're like maybe 30% of this bar is protein. Let's see what the rest is. All right, so protein content, we're giving it a 4 on that. All right, so the macros, let's break that down here. Total carbs, 42 grams of carbs. 42 times 4 is 168. So you've got 168 calories in this bar are from carbs. So that's what, 35%, 36% of this bar. And then you've got fat, 14 grams. So 14 times 9 calories a gram for fat. Oh, I can't even do that math. That's 126. 126 calories from fat in this bar. So we're not gonna knock it too much for the carbs, because this is, you know, a good bar for bulking, right? You want a lot of carbs after a workout when you're trying to bulk, but you wanna minimize the amount of fat you put in your body. So I'm gonna slam it on the macro points. I'm gonna give it a 4 as well there, because of that 14 grams of fat, right? If we're gonna be bulking with a high calorie, high carb, high protein bar, you know, we wanna stay on the low fat side. So I'm not a fan of the macros on this. I'm giving it a 4. But let's see how this thing tastes, all right? This thing is a log. I don't know how much it weighs. They say 3.5 ounces. This thing's 100 grams. All right, look at this thing. You've got white frosting on top. Looks like something you'd see on a big cupcake. And then you've got this crunch layer there. And then you've got, I don't know, another layer of chocolate at the bottom. All right, so taste, chocolate jumps out at me. You know, some strong cocoa flavor there. Not overly chocolatey. That frosting really does not have any flavor to it. Kind of a letdown there. Yeah, so taste, I'll give it a 7. It's not bad. I wish there was some kind of like vanilla frosting flavor to that frosting. It's just, there's no flavor to it. At least I can't taste it. I don't know. So 7 on taste there. Texture's pretty good. I like the crunch. I like the texture of that frosting. It has a little chewiness to it, kind of a little creaminess. But the chocolate on the bottom too, not much to that either. but it is a pretty, I don't know what you call it, pretty hearty bar. It's a lot of substance to it, you know, something to sink your teeth into. So texture on it, I'll give it an 8. All right, let's talk about the overall score. Okay, ingredients, lots of junky stuff in it, not very clean. Calorie count, we really liked for what it is. It's a high calorie bar. They're not playing around. So we like that. The protein content, not really great for that amount of calories. And we don't like the soy protein as the #1 protein source. Macros could be better. It was pretty much spaced out evenly, is maybe about a third of each, a third protein, third carb, third fat, so not really that great. Taste was kind of a letdown, and the texture was pretty good. So this bar, I'm gonna give it a 6. There it is. Protein bar review guy, giving the MetRX Big 100 Super Cookie Crunch a 6. All right, now let's dive into the bulk up tips. All right, so like we said, we're trying to do a clean bulk for the winter, right? We don't want to set ourselves too far back, remember, because we were doing the tighten up, tone up stuff all spring and summer, trying to get shredded for summertime. So we want to keep the muscle that we built. We don't want to just get all puffed out and lose all the definition that we worked so hard to get all spring and summer. So we want to do a clean bulk. We really want to focus on that and minimize the fat that we put on over the winter, because otherwise then you got to start all over again in the spring and shred out. So if we do it properly through the winter, you're going to have less fat to trim off in the spring, and you'll have more muscle on there after you trim the fat off, so you'll be bigger and you'll be leaner, come spring, summertime next year. So the #1 bulk up tip of the day today is we're gonna flip our macro percentages. Remember, I'm talking about tracking our food and tracking our diet in previous episodes. I hope you all have been doing that, and I hope it's been helping you. But right now we're gonna flip the macro percentages that we had for fat and carb for the summertime. We're still gonna keep our protein content at roughly 40% per day of our daily intake. But in the summertime, we were doing a higher fat intake of about 35% fat and about 25% of our macros for carbs a day. And that was in the summertime. Okay, now going into the bulk, we're gonna flip that. So we're gonna have a higher carb intake and a lower fat intake, still keeping the protein at 40%. So what I'm doing is I'm doing 40% carb, 20% fat a day, and 40% protein a day. So that equals 100% of your macros right there. Again, the goal behind this is to minimize the amount of fat that we put in our body so that we hang on to less fat. And remember, carbs build muscle. Muscle glycogen, is mostly made from carbs and water. So stick to the other stuff I told you about cutting, right? Eating your vegetables, drinking lots of water, getting proper rest, your workouts, hitting the time under tension, all that other stuff still applies here, okay? But we're gonna change our diet quite substantially for these winter months, and try to focus on those fats that you do put in your body. Make sure they're quality fats, stuff like some good nuts. Brazil nuts are great, almonds, olive oils, stuff like that. And try to minimize the fat. If you can cut it down even more, say you have a good day and you're like, oh my God, I'm only at 17 or 18% fat intake and I've got 42% protein and 40% carb, right? No problem, that's good, go with it, okay? I'm not saying you have to reach 20% of your daily caloric intake from fat. If you can keep it below that, maybe 15%, between 15 and 20, that's great. But focus on getting the 40% carb and 40% protein in your diet every day, and track and measure. Use a scale, all right? This thing's like $8. Just get one. It'll be a game changer for you, I promise. All right, so there it is. This thing's getting a 6, and flip your macros. Happy kickoff to bulking season, all right? I'll catch you later.